Hello everybody, this is Scott at Comic Book Hangover, and I'm going to be doing 2 weeks worth of weekly haul videos, so I'm going to go through this kind of quick. I wasn't able to do a weekly haul video last week because we had some issues with our internet, so without ready access to the internet I wasn't able to post any videos, so I just figured why not, let's just do 2 weeks worth. I'll go through these as quickly as I can so that it doesn't become a long video, so we're just going to jump right into it with what I grabbed last week. We're going to start a bit in reverse, but this is a freebie, Young Guns 2019 sketchbook. It's sort of a spotlight book featuring some of the young up-and-coming hot artists that Marvel has on some of their books, some of their really better books, and just some different stuff that they've got coming out. I did flip through it. These ones I don't really look through in any kind of detail. I do flip through it because I like to look at the different kind of artists and see who's coming up and what kind of style they have. I do like the Javier Garrón. I like his version of Miles. It's really well done. Mike Del Mundo I am familiar with. I think I've got some books that he's been on, but I kind of got the idea that maybe with this, if any of these fine folks are at any conventions that I'm going to, I'm going to try to get the cover signed by each one of them, and just for fun, just for something to do. But I grabbed that. So moving on to the regular books that I grabbed last week, the Black Cat issue 2 Carnageized variant. I wasn't going to grab this. I'm trying to come back on variant titles. I think Marvel is sort of abusing the variant concept by having every single book have multiple covers, which I think is really, really pointless, and is kind of, I don't know, just trying to just bleed as much money out of the market as possible. And I don't think in the long run that's going to be a very good thing. But every once in a while there's going to be a variant cover that I can't resist. This is one of them. It is just a very hot cover. Carnageized Black Cat. I'm not going to read the book. I enjoy Black Cat. I just don't have enough interest in her to read a book focusing just on her. I think she's best as a supporting character. I grabbed last week the New Mutants 98 Facsimile Edition. This is one of those books that I don't understand why they sell these books at $3.99 or $4.99 for some of them, but considering how expensive the original actual copies are, I'm willing to bite the bullet. That way I at least have these in my collection. I can flip through them and I'll have it. I know with this one here, I never actually realized how heavily drawn Deadpool is on the cover, but we're not going to get into that. So I grabbed Facsimile Edition New Mutants 98. I got Symbiote Spider-Man number 4, continuing the 1980s adventures of Spider-Man when he's not in charge. Basically, he's sleeping during most of this story, and the symbiote costume, the black costume, is often doing what it wants to do. So, good series, good series. If they were to do more of these, I would definitely consider getting it. More so if they got a different artist. I know he's a hot artist, but Greg Land has never really been one of my favorite artists. The True Believers I grabbed last week, featuring Carnage, part of the Absolute Carnage True Believers program. First full appearance of the character here. I have the original first print and second print. The first print is signed by Bags, so I guess this is my third copy of it. I grabbed the Venom Carnage one. I used to have this entire series. I wound up selling it about a year or two ago on eBay. I got a pretty penny for it, but now I've got the reprint of the first issue, so I'm totally cool with that. And the last book that I picked up last week was another Facsimile Edition, X-Men number 1. Again, this is one of those books that I'm never going to be able to afford an original copy of it, so I'm totally happy with having a facsimile. So that's what I grabbed last week. This week's books, Blossom 666 number 5. This is the final issue of the miniseries featuring the Blossom characters from the Archie comics. In this one here, you've got the two Blossoms that we know. There's apparently a third sibling. The whole point of the series was one of these two was supposed to be the Antichrist. It's going to be the new Antichrist and bring forth a new era of darkness in the world. And in order to pick one, they had to compete with each other. It's a really interesting version of sibling rivalry where they do have a form of love and respect for each other, but in order for one of them to win, the other one basically has to die. So the wrench that's thrown into their plans to one up each other is when their third sibling shows up, and he sort of works his own version of twisted manipulation to usurp the position from those two. But this is a very interesting, very entertaining series. If they do another one of these, I'm definitely going to be on board with it. It's wonderfully twisted and the kind of stuff that I really kind of enjoy. Of the multiple covers they had for this, I grabbed this one mainly because, and this might be kind of a stretch for some people, but this kind of reminds me of the sort of cover that the old Vertigo series Fables would have. It just, for some reason, there's some aspects about it that really reminded me of that series, so I grabbed it because of that. And yeah, really enjoyed it. Archie Horror has some really good books. I've got another one coming up here too. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, #7, continuing her quest to get the hell out of hell, basically, and doing it in her own unique way with wonderful puns and jokes. I know there's an issue 8 coming out. I don't think I've seen any solicitations for anything after 8, so I don't know if the series is being wrapped up. But if it is, and if by any long shot, if Dynamite is listening, I would love it if you would continue doing stuff with this character. That doesn't have to be ongoing books. Sometimes a character works better as a series of miniseries. Do miniseries, do one-shots, but definitely continue with this character. It's a lot of fun. This one here was from last week. It is Go-Go Power Rangers #21. This is the beginning of the Necessary Evil. I wasn't going to pick it up because I wasn't sure if I needed it, but then I saw online that that is a first appearance of a Purple Ranger, and since it is kind of the beginning of this Necessary Evil, I went back to my LCS yesterday on Wednesday, and they had one copy left on the racks. This was it, and since it wasn't beat up too badly, or at all really, I decided to grab it. The Go-Go Power Rangers series, this picks up, originally was within the first, after the first episode or 2 of the TV series, so it's early on. Whereas the regular series, Mighty Morphin, originally took place during the space between the first and second season, but that was the original plan. Then they did the Shattered Grid story, which was an amazing story for any kind of a Power Rangers fan. Definitely pick up the trade for the Shattered Grid event, because that was awesome. Truly epic. But now I'm seeing this as post-Shattered Grid. This series and Mighty Morphin are off in their own direction. They really don't have any more ties to the show, and that's great. I mean, it should be like that. They should be able to exist on their own, separate of the TV series. But I'll be reading Go-Go through the Necessary Evil events, and probably will end up dropping it after that, because I like the more current stuff. Also, this has Lord Zed in it, so that's definitely a plus. Invader Zim, #45. Honestly, I'm surprised this series is still going. We are on issue 45 of Invader Zim, and this is a series that I thought would end, probably have a very quiet cancellation around issue 12, but here we are, 5 issues away from Invader Zim 50, and that's pretty awesome. I haven't read this one yet, because for some reason, as much as I enjoy this series, I am perpetually behind a couple of issues, and I just need to find a day or a night and just sit down, grab the books, and read through them. Just binge read them and get caught up, because it's a very entertaining series. If you're a fan of the animated show, definitely pick this up. It's definitely it maintains the spirit and the insanity of the show. A lot of fun. The other Archie horror book I picked up this week was the Jughead the Hunger vs. Vampironica. This was the series where they really established that all of these Archie horror books, Jughead the Hunger, Vampironica, Blossom 666, and I would assume, even though it's really kind of no longer around, Afterlife with Archie, they all exist in their own different realities. And they are totally ignorant of each other. So originally, before this crossover, Vampironica and Jughead, they had no idea that each other existed. In Vampironica's world, there are no werewolves, and the reverse is true for Jughead. There are no vampires in Jughead's version of Riverdale. And now they're together, and there's a big deal going on that if they don't figure out why their universes are meeting and why vampires are ending up in Jughead's version of Riverdale, they don't figure this out, everything is going to be destroyed. And what was really awesome is at the end of this issue, we got a very cool sort of cameo, surprise guest appearance of another character that actually works very well in the Archie horror line. That's a very fun series. I actually really enjoy Vampironica. I think if she wasn't in, I may not have been picking this up, but I like that character. And if Archie Horror does anything else, another mini-series or a one-shot with that character, I'm definitely on board for it. So this week's True Believers were True Believers for Amazing Spider-Man. This was the time that the Carnage symbiote possessed the Silver Surfer. I actually have the original for this. I guess this is a pretty hot book. Maybe we had a low print run or something, but this was the original cover for it. It's Amazing Spider-Man number 430. And as much as I like that cover, and I understand why they did this issue as a True Believer, the follow-up issue, 431, I thought always had a much, much better cover for it. I love this cover. And this is one that I always, when I go to a show, I hope to find a print, a regular size print of this cover so I can hang it up on my wall. But yeah, so there, I get to show off some more of my books. The other True Believer that came out this week that I picked up was the SpiderMan Unlimited number 1. This begins the Maximum Carnage event. They ran through all the Spider books that were going at the time. So it started in Unlimited, and it ran through Amazing, Spectacular, Web, and the regular Spider-Man title, and it went through those books for, I think, like 2 months, and then it wrapped up, 2 or 3 months, and then it wrapped up in Spider-Man Unlimited number 2. So if you've ever wanted to see Carnage at its finest, this is definitely the book to pick up. And it's only $1. This isn't the full issue because these Unlimited books, they were really thick. They were a lot thicker than regular books. So they would have your A story, which in this one was the Maximum Carnage Part 1. And then there was the B and the C story, which usually was just, little filler stuff. But you just get the Maximum Carnage one in this. This is all you need. It's only $1. I definitely recommend checking it out. And finally this week I picked up Vampirella.